Currently still studying. I'm still in school. I'm at Southern Connecticut State University. I'm studying directing and acting. I work at the Longworth Theater. I run the box office there. It's a great theater. You should all come out if you ever have a chance. And I also teach. I teach 6 to 16-year-old girls down at the Backstage Dance Center. A few of their moms are down here in the front row. I love music. I love theater. I love anything that has to do with the performing arts. And I'm here today to tell you guys a story, I guess, the story of me. So back in middle school, I was a really shy kid. I had like 3 friends, the same 3 friends that I still have now. And kids would call me names once in a while. They'd call me a girl. My mom made me get a bowl cut my whole life, which was, if you don't know, because you're all children of the 2000s, it's this haircut that goes straight around, all the way around. And it's really embarrassing, but I looked like a girl, I guess, and kids would call me girl or queer, which I didn't really know what that meant at the time. And then I went into high school, and suddenly everything started to change. I found this group of kids that were a little bit older than me. They were seniors. They were all into music and theater. And I just fell in love with those kind of people that are really outgoing and open-armed. And so I was a freshman in high school, and I was doing running crew for this play, The Importance of Being Earnest. And this kid, Ryan, came up to me one of the nights, and he said, "You're gay." And I was like, What? I'm not gay. And he was like, "No, you are." And I was like, "Oh, you're right. You're right, I am gay." And he's like, "It feels good, doesn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it kind of does," because I had an idea like throughout middle school, but I never really could say it, and my family never really talked about anything like that, and there was nothing really in the media at the time, and I was really sheltered. So where am I? So high school. So he was like, "You need to tell someone. You need to go and tell someone else. It'll make you feel better." And I was like, "Okay." So I went up to 2 other guys, Mike and Brian, one who's gay and one who's not. And I was like, "Guys, I'm gay." And they were like, "Awesome." And I was like, "Okay, this is cool." And so it's starting to feel really good. Just, I guess, admitting to myself and to other people who, that small part of me that I was always holding back. And so we jump forward like a couple months, and this is like December of 1999, maybe. I was a freshman, and I wrote my parents a letter telling them that I was bi, because I thought that it would be easier on them if I just said I was bi instead of like full-on gay. And it actually made things a little more complicated. But so I came home after delivering this letter in the morning, and I had all my friends from school sign the letter in support of me, which is so embarrassing. But so I give this letter to my mom in the morning, and I come home, and by the way, my mom is here. She's in the front row. And I find my mom on the dining room table crying a lot. And she wouldn't talk to me. She couldn't talk to me. And then my dad, I remember the next thing, my dad was upstairs in my room with me, and we're standing over by my bookshelf, and he said, "Listen, I don't care what you are, as long as you're safe and you're happy." And he's like, mom's gonna take a little bit longer to deal with this. And that was tough for me, because I was always really close with my parents growing up. And I have 4 younger brothers. I've always been really close with them, but I thought that they wouldn't love me as much as they had before, and that's one of the scariest things that you can deal with. Like, your family should always be there for you. They probably will always be there for you, but to think that they might not love you just because of this one thing is pretty difficult. So it was tough for a while, and I ended up having to go to the doctor. We went to my pediatrician, because, you know, as young parents, my parents had me when they were 18, they don't always know what curveballs their kids are going to throw them, and this one is definitely a big one for a lot of parents. And so I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, Dr. Myers, he said, listen, he kind of had a smoker's voice, I don't care what you are, but you could be black, white, rainbow, I don't care, but your mom's having a kind of hard time, so you should just, kind of ease up on it a little bit and maybe not talk about it that much. And he said that, you're 14 and you don't really want to label yourself yet because you never know, like, if your feelings will change. And I was like, that's a good point. So I kind of ignored it for a little while and just kept to myself and kept having the support of my friends. And my high school experience was just extremely different from any educational experience I'd had before that. In high school, I never really had a problem with homophobia. Maybe a few kids would call me fag or gay. Aside from that, it wasn't as bad for me as it was for some other kids. And then I went to Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, which is a pretty conservative town, but it had a nice disbursement of very liberal people and very conservative people. And I joined the gay club there, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender group, and somehow I became the president of it my freshman year. We went and did rallies, and we had the National Coming Out Day. We had a closet where kids would, like, hypothetically, or I guess figuratively, come out of the closet. And I came home freshman year in December, and we had just dropped my friend Brian off at the airport, and my mom said, and we hadn't really talked about being gay at all in the past 4 years, and she goes, so, you really gay? And I was like, yeah, I'm really gay. And she was like, okay, well, I'll love you no matter what. And at that moment, things just started to change, at least with our relationship. I started bringing home, like, boyfriends, and she would talk about how she liked them or she didn't like them, and then she would ask me what I did if a boyfriend broke up with me, and I would say I didn't do anything wrong, and she's been really supportive, and she's changed completely over the past, I guess, 8 or 9 or 10 years. But really why I'm here today is to talk to you guys about bullying. I assume that I was brought in for some specific incidents, and I don't know about them particularly. Does anyone want to shed a little light on that? Oh look, there's me, I forgot about that. Anybody? Come on up. Any faculty members? Everyone's pretty shy. Well,
I think the reason that people aren't saying anything, and you wouldn't know this, is we had an assembly, was it two weeks ago? Yeah. 3 weeks ago? Well, there was, I don't know that people officially know about any incidents, but we know of I think heard through the grapevine of a couple things that had happened. The hard part is when you're in high school, administrators don't divulge that information because of privacy, but I think that the fact that we had several weeks of, like, anti-bullying kind of themes for advisory, says it all. And we were fortunate enough to have a bunch of students come down 2 or 3 weeks ago and share some things that they had experienced, general bullying that would normally go on, and plus some other issues that you're touching upon. But I think that's why, and you're doing such a great job that I don't think somebody wants to take the mic from you, but I just wanted to explain to you that, what had happened.
So just by a show of hands then, let's see. So who has been a victim of bullying at one point or another? At least in your experience in high school. Okay, good. That's a pretty big chunk of you guys. So if you're proud enough to raise your hand, who has been someone who's been the one that's doing the bullying? I've done it. We've all done it. Yeah. So it's a pretty common problem, and at least over the past couple of years, there have been a lot of stories in the news about teens as young as 11 years old that are committing suicide because of bullying, and I'm sure that's it's a compounded effect of a bunch of different reasons. But it's a good picture, isn't it? It's my headshot. Do I do it this way?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, got it. Got it.
Wait, where's the sensor? Over there?
I think it works when it wants to.
This clicker does not work. Oh, there we go. So I have a quote for you guys. The pressures on gay teens can be overwhelming. To keep secrets, tell lies, deny who you are, and try to be who you're not. Remember, you are special and worth being cared about, loved, and accepted just as you are. Never, ever let anyone convince you otherwise. This is really important to me because back in my freshman year of college, I was not someone who was all about gay pride and marching in parades, and I'm still not really that person. But when kids are killing themselves over this internal struggle that they have, it's to the point where people need to start being honest with themselves and really figuring out why this is happening. So we have two things. We have tolerance and we have acceptance. And in college I learned the difference. Tolerance is kind of the easy way out. It's saying, I'm okay with who you are, but I'm not going to accept you, and I don't have to, I'll only be nice to you because I have to do it. Whereas acceptance, it's saying, you're different than me, though we are not the same, you still deserve the same amount of respect that I do, and that every other human does. Okay, so, we have Jamie, age 14. Brought a little cheat sheet. So Jamie said, I always say how bullied I am, but no one listens. He wrote this on September 9th. What do I have to do so people will listen to me? In the months prior to this, he routinely blogged about school bullying and thoughts of suicide in between upbeat posts about his pop star idol Lady Gaga, and the ordinary types of teen rants typical for kids his age. Jamie's mother said that her son had questioned his sexuality for the last year, and that a lot of classmates used those issues as an excuse to say horrible and malicious things to him. And a few days later, he hanged himself outside of his home in suburban Buffalo. Yeah. Then we have Lawrence King, Larry King. This is a pretty big one. In the 3rd grade, he was being bullied by his fellow students because he was effeminate. And he was very open about being gay. That's pretty young, having come out of the closet at 10 years old. A day or two before the shooting, Larry walked onto the basketball court in the middle of the game and asked Brandon to be his Valentine in front of the team. On the morning of February 12th, Brandon was witnessed repeatedly looking at Larry during a class in computer lab, and at approximately 8:15 local time, Brandon shot Larry twice in the head using I'm not really a gun person, but it says .22 caliber revolver that he took out of his backpack. Following the shooting, Brandon tossed the handgun on the floor and walked out of the classroom, where he was arrested by authorities. This is kind of self-explanatory how ridiculous this is. Tyler Clemente, this is a pretty recent one. You guys may have heard about it in the news. He was 18, he was a student at Rutgers in New Jersey, and his roommate video streamed Tyler kissing another man over the internet without his knowledge. And the next day, Tyler jumped to his death from the George Washington Bridge, and that was September 22nd last year. Matthew Shepard. Matthew Shepard was a student in Laramie, Wyoming. The play The Laramie Project is based on his life. It was decided that when he was at a bar